Hi there, Dr. Malka here, your Los Angeles-based chiropractor and acupuncturist. And today I'm going to show you how to strengthen your abdominal muscles properly. And make sure to watch the video to the very end, because I'm also going to show you how most people are doing them incorrectly and thus hurting their low back. Lying on your back, you want to get your lower back into what we call a neutral spine position. You don't want the back arched like this or tucked too much. You just want the low back to be just lightly grazing the floor. And you can see here I put a piece of tape here so you can see what that vertical line should look like. And also when we're working out the stomach muscles, you want to work the muscles the way you use them. So for instance, the bicep does this, and so you want to work it like this. The leg does this, and so you want to work the leg like this when you're exercising. But with the abdominals, they're pelvic stabilizers. So you don't want to work them coming up and down like that classic sit-up. You want to work them in a stabilizing fashion. So let's start off with the first sit-up. What you want to do is put your feet shoulder width or hip width apart. You can gauge this by putting a fist in between your knees. And so you're going to put your hands behind your head, but you're going to just use pressure as if it's like a silver dollar on the back of your head. You don't want to clasp and yank your neck. And so the first one we're going to be doing is, again, neutral spine. Low back is just barely touching the floor. Tighten the stomach, meaning bring the belly button into the spine, and just raise the head up, looking at your belly button, and hold it. Now, if you need a little more pressure, you can put a weight on the chest, but you should be able to just hold it just like this, and hold it for a full minute, or at any point you feel your muscles kind of fatiguing a little bit, and then come down and relax. Now you'll see people doing exercises where they want to work the obliques. The proper way to work the obliques is to bring the knees over to the side, and in the meantime we're getting a nice low back stretch there. Hands behind the head. Very lightly, you're just supporting the head. Bring the head up and hold. And you're really trying to get this left shoulder over to the hip. So you want to be straight on while you're doing this and not like this. So try to be as straight as possible coming up, like so. And once again, hold this until you feel some fatigue. Just about a minute or so. And then come down, bring the legs over to the other side. And you'll notice there's no jerking motions while I'm doing this. Hands behind the head, just supporting the head very lightly, and come up to the other side. You can probably see this better, how I'm bringing that elbow over to the other side, working these muscles right in here. Once again, holding them for a full minute, or until you fatigue. Now, another way to work the oblique muscles is to lie on your side, relaxing the head completely, and then just lift both legs up like so. And when you do this, don't go too far up. You'll put strain on the lumbar spine. Just up maybe 3 or 4 inches. And then you'll start feeling a burning right in this area. And then we'll rotate to the other side. Resting the head on a pillow or your elbow. Bring your legs perfectly straight and raise them up like so. And holding it there until you fatigue. And you're working these areas right in here, these obliques. And relax down. Now going back to these rectus abdominals again, we're gonna raise up the volume a little bit, make it a little more intense. So you're gonna bring the legs up like this. And this also is a bit of a balancing exercise. You're gonna be doing cycling with the legs. Keep the elbows off the ground. This way you can create a little instability. The lumbar spine has to work a little bit in the abs to maintain balance. And when you feel comfortable with this, you can straighten the legs out and do a scissors move like so. Start off with really small scissors and then continue increasing it a little bit. Now you'll see when I come down to this point, if your abs are not very strong, you'll start arching that spine. See how the tape is moving? You want to avoid that. The spine must be always lightly touching the floor. So as I come down, right here I feel like I'm lifting. You want to come back and then do the scissors in that position. So now after exercising the stomach, it's important, like every other muscle, to stretch it. The way we stretch the stomach muscle is to come up into this position. It's called Cobra, just with the elbows on the mat like this. If you're a little more flexible, you can come up like this and feel that nice stretch in the stomach muscles. Also, because you might have engaged your hip flexors, you can even bring your feet up like this to stretch the quads and the hip flexors, and even come behind and help bring the foot to the buttocks and both sides like so. And you can just be in this position for, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes, and it helps to release the low back as well as the abdominal muscles. And then finish off in child pose. Just opening up that low back. In case you might have done the abdominal exercises and put a little stress in the low back, this will help release the low back. So next I'm going to show you several of the mistakes that a lot of people do when doing sit-ups. And even at gyms, I have to walk around with blinders on. Even the personal trainers are doing things that are so bad for people's back. First off, you don't want to hook your feet under anything or have someone sit or hold your legs down while you're doing sit-ups. Because what happens when you do this and you're coming up into a sit-up is you're really just using your hip flexors, coming up like so. And also that whole sitting up motion really puts pressure on the low back. Or those other ones where you see people doing this and coming up, you're using momentum and you're causing a shearing in the low back, which is really unhealthy for the low back. Remember what I told you, you want to work the muscle the way you use the muscle. So that's the video on how to do proper sit-ups. So get out there and get those abs of steel. We will be launching a new YouTube video every Wednesday and Friday at 3 p.m. And I'll be available for any questions you have or suggestions for future videos.